when you have a company, when you have employees, when you have people that depend on you, the family that they have at home depends on the paycheck that you put in their account every week. Well, I don't know. Well, you better be pretty fucking sure. And we are back for an episode 2 of the HzSoGood Podcast with yours truly and Chris Spears. Again, we're gonna make a habit out of this. I think he's not too bad. I don't want to throw him out the window yet.
I mean, I've had worse habits than appearing on podcasts.
No, I think, and you were touching on this just a few minutes ago. One of the things that I've lacked as a skill as an entrepreneur is not being the paralysis by analysis. And I do that a lot. It's like, okay, well, I know what to do in this situation. I have the education behind me because I've spent thousands of dollars on educating myself when it comes to entrepreneurship and marketing and things like that. But when it comes to taking that first step, I don't just do it. And that's what you did with the podcast. It was like, let's just fucking do it. Like, let's just try it. First one crashed and burned. I mean, we didn't even get the audio right on the first one.
Right.
Second one, we had a couple kinks that we wanted to work out. I like this setting a little bit better. It feels, now I feel like I'm talking to you more now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually sitting at the table and it feels more like a conversation than.
Yeah, the last one felt like the principal's office or something where I'm in the low chair and you're getting chastised, you know.
Look at it. You look at it like you were the guy being interviewed, you know, just chilling back, and I was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Spears." So, how's the day treating you?
Man, day's treating me well. It's a busy day. Been just cranking stuff out at the house, and it's the first time I've left the house. Then I have like 2 meetings after this, but yeah, I don't know. Living in Florida. By the time you get to leave the house, if it's not raining, it's kind of a blessing because people save all year to vacation places like where we live. So I don't take that for granted. Like, it's like when I lived in California, like if I was having a bad day, I'd kind of zoom out and really assess the situation and be like, you know what? Am I really having a bad day? It's January. A bad day would be a foot of snow and -4 degrees and the bullshit I'm dealing with right now. But I can go take a lap on the bike and grab a sandwich and a beer and regroup, and it's 80 degrees. Like, am I having a bad day? So it's about gratitude and keeping things in perspective. Like,
it's funny because
I don't live in a shack in Utah or something, you know, like we
if
live by
you
the
and
beach.
you and I in that aspect are like polar opposites. Because like earlier today, I was feeling a little stressed, and I went and I sat by the ocean. Don't get me wrong. I love the ocean. I love the beach. It's a beautiful place. But like me, if I was in some cool weather right now or some snow and could just walk out and watch the snow hit the hills, that's where I'd be like, all right, it's cool. And I feel so out of place here because every time I go, I'm like, oh, that's the ocean. It's really cool. And I love going out there. I want to learn to surf and all that, but it's not like, it doesn't hit home the same way.
Yeah, I mean, down here, your mountains are a vacation, but Carolina, pick one. Georgia, it's not that far, short flight. I mean, out of MLB, you got to direct to Charlotte and Raleigh.
Yeah.
I believe.
You can go direct to Denver, I believe, too. But that's my thing is like we went to the Smoky Mountains for Christmas a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. It was absolutely gorgeous. Different kind of mountains.
Those are like Mountain Junior. They're older mountains. They're rounded off a little bit.
I remember and this is one of the best memories. They call them, I guess, core memories, things that really shaped you as a person when you were younger, before you could really remember a lot. I remember my dad and I went elk hunting. He was an archery hunter. And we went up and we climbed this hill. We got up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Freezing cold. Snow all over the place. We're up in Steamboat. And we got in the car. We drove, got to the bottom of this hill, grabs all his stuff, and he says, "Don't say a word until we get to the top of the mountain. Okay. And we walked, 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 and we walked. And I swear to God, it took forever. If we got to the base of that mountain at 5 o'clock, the sun doesn't come out till 7. So we walked for a solid 2 hours uphill, you know? And we stopped. And he was like, all right. And I started, blah, 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 blah. You know, he was like, shh, look. And he looked over, and there's this sea of mountains that you can see from the top of this hill, and the sun's coming up from the east.
Awesome.
And it's all glowing orange, and it's all covered in snow, so it's reflecting the orange. And I was like, whoa. Like, even as a kid, because as a kid, people were like, hey, check this out. You're like, oh, yeah, cool. Back to what I was doing. Shiny, you know. But even as a kid, I was like, oh, man. So I think the mountains have always had that place in my heart where this is like, oh, yeah, let's go play. But it doesn't quite hit the same way. And I need to be more appreciative of where I sit now.
Well, and I would advise anyone, no matter where you live, there's no one place that offers everything. Like,
check
annual or quarterly quick weekend vacations. Like, my wife and I will do quarterly. We'll do a long weekend somewhere, and then annually we'll do the 10-day somewhere just to like really change the environment. But get in the car, jump on a plane, and you got to renew your spirit because there's no perfect place to live. I mean, for me, I don't like cold weather, so this checks the boxes. But, if I wanted to work right up until the day I die, I mean, I'd live in San Diego because it doesn't rain. It's just wildfires and riots and homelessnesses, but other than that. And
other than that, it's great.
Tax out the ass.
Awesome.
And, but neither here nor there. I wanted to touch on what I feel like the key indicator of success, not only as an entrepreneur, but literally in life, in happiness, in business, in anything, is communication skills. So that
something we can all work on.
Yeah, I mean, me included. I think I've always been such a natural talker that I realized a couple decades ago, one of the keys to cultivating my communication skills was not to read more, it was to listen better and speak less, especially in sales. If you sit back and let a potential client talk, because, there's two schools of thought, like, oh, you got to lead a proposal, a meeting where you're pitching. If they're not closed, two things I won't buy. Something I want from somebody I don't like, or something I don't want, period. Check. So I go into a car dealership and the only one they have is the Lamborghini purple color or something. It's like, well, I don't want a car that color. It's like, well, it's got all the options. I'm like, well, I know with my car experience, you can dealer trade a car. So if I like the guy, I'll be like, all right, I'll give you an opportunity. Like, I know there's one in West Virginia at a dealership in the black I want. So trade for it. I'll come back in a week when it arrives. Or I'll just call that dealership directly and have it shipped for free.
Right.
So, like, they say, like, oh, it'll cost this, or we can't do it. You got to take the one we have in stock. That's bull. Any dealer, new car dealership, can get any car in the network in the United States. So,
car dealerships, I swear, and this is something that I still learned. The last time I went for a car, it had been so long since I bought a car that I completely forgot about it, and I let them walk all over me, and I walked out, and I was like, what the hell? You have to stay on, because everything they say at those places is bullshit.
Total bullshit.
Everything that comes out of their mouth they're like, hey, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can do this, but that's going to cost you. It's like, no, that's bullshit.
Oh, when you're walking out the door, then all of a sudden, they can do it. So,
oh, yeah. We did that the first time I went to go buy a car with my uncle. We went across the street, and we sat in the car, and he was like, just wait for it. Like, wait for what? Just wait for it. Bing. It's like, okay, we can do that. I talked to my managers. You didn't talk to shit. You started freaking out because you were like, I want the commission.
Oh, man. Like Indian Motorcycles making some killer products these days. So the motorcycle dealership representing Indian in Orlando is it's in the hood. It's right by Camping World Stadium, like OBT downtown. Really bombed out.
I know where
area.
that's at. Yeah,
right? That's the only one in Orlando. they need to step that up a little bit. So I go in there. I was trading in. I had a 2016 Harley Davidson high output Fat Bob. Really loved the bike. Had like 25K on it. And this is in December, January 2020, 2021. So I go into the dealership with an appointment with a paid off trade. Trade was worth $12,500. And overall's good old boy is like, all right, well, we're going to need to see a credit app before we test drive. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, well, we don't do joy rides around here. We got to make sure you're a qualified buyer. And I'm like, all right, so is that how you treat everybody? And by the way, I was looking at a bike that was retail $19,500. I've got $12,500 in a paid off trade. How bad a credit do I have to not be able to finance like $7,000? And this guy is looking me up and down and so I was like, all right, man, well, I'm riding it or I'm out. So we take a ride and I'm like, yeah, I want to check out the cruise control. And he's like, well, we ain't just going on the highway. So he takes me on a 4-block stop sign to stop sign loop for a bike that, it's got bags on it and you just ride across country. And I'm like, cool, that really simulates how I'd use the bike, is driving half a mile around the ghetto of Orlando.
I would have looked right at him and said, you afraid of the death wobble? Is that why you're not letting me take it on the highway? He would have been like, oh,
I was done.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
A couple months later, I see the dude at, he picks me out at a Publix by my house, doing some grocery shopping. I think it's Sunday, picking up pork steaks and beer, doing the pool thing. And, I'm wearing a Harley Davidson t-shirt. This guy walks up. He's like, oh, you like motorcycles, man? I work at Indian. We got some smoking products, killer deals. Blah, blah. I was like, hey, man, I'm the guy you basically blew out of there because you weren't sure about my credit and there's no joy rides. So I went down the street to Orlando Harley. They gave me a road glide to take overnight.
Yeah.
And just return it whenever before close the next day.
Yeah, they do that.
So I went, we rode it to Daytona and back. And by the time I came back, I was like, all right, I rode this 200 miles. I'm closed. I tried the cruise control. I had the stereo cranked up. I'm like, man, this is what I want.
I was talking, and you're in marketing. So answer me this, because I know there's a method to the madness, but I was just talking to Sam about this yesterday. I am more apt to buy or rent something online if they just throw the price up there and don't do the pop-up, sign up, email, and don't get me wrong, building an email list, obviously, it's kind of like the heart of marketing. You want the email list.
You're deceptive up front when you don't disclose your pricing on a vehicle.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, skip, but I like driving manual cars.
If there's 10 sites out there,
if you're the only one with the manual, there's not going to be a lot of sticks out there. So it's like, I'll play the game, and that's what I'll actually call them. I'll be like, hey, man, what's the price on this car? It's like, well, come on in for a test drive. I'm like, all right, it's price or I'm fucking hanging up.
Yeah.
What's the price on the car? You're 100 miles away. I'm not going to drive in, and I know what they drive like. Because I use people just like when you buy something on Amazon, I'll go play with it at Best Buy and see if I want it. And I'll buy it cheaper somewhere else online.
Yeah, we were looking at pontoon boats, man. We were looking at renting because the girls down at BB's have been talking about doing a boat day. And I was like, let's check the prices of renting a pontoon boat.
How many girls? Good friends of ours. I mean, we have several friends with the pontoon. It's usually just us 4, so there'd be room for another 6.
That's probably. I mean, none of them are going to get all the same day off. I'm sure. Some of them going to work. But we were looking at that, and 4 sites that I looked at were like, oh, email us, give us your number, give us all your information, your address, all that, and we'll let you know what the person. No, there were 2 up there that were $100 an hour. I was like, well, it's going to be one of these 2 because they told me how much they want. And even if it's overpriced, which it might be, I don't know, but they told me right then and there, they were like, this is how much it's going to cost. If you want it, here you go. I'm going with those guys.
Yeah. And I will preface, with my digital ad agency, I don't have flat pricing because every business is completely different.
Oh, yeah. Well, different for your business versus when you're making a site for a business. And that's the same thing with bars and restaurants. When I go and I sit and I look at a menu, and it's like, oh, well, we got the, steak this and that, and there's no price on it. I'm like, okay, are you going to gouge me for $120 for this steak if I order it, or is it like $20?
If it's market price surf and turf, it's gonna be 80 to like 120. You know that. It ain't gonna be 200.
Market
it's not
price
50,
is different though.
but-
Like when you say market price on there, that's when if you're unsure, you can ask. But I hate going into just like a basic restaurant. It's like they don't have prices on anything. It's like, okay, if I get just a basic steak, is it gonna be $80 for a subpar steak because you don't put your prices on anything and you think you're cool? Like I can't.
God, I guess I
don't
haven't
like,
been to a restaurant that had no pricing on it.
Every once in a while I'll get a menu and it doesn't have prices on anything. I'm like, I don't want to fucking eat here, man. If
I'm trying a new restaurant, I've already scouted the menu online. I don't just cold walk unless we're out of town. But
it's more in tourist places.
Even then, out of town, if I've never been to a city, I'm scouting what's by our hotel.
If you go to Cocoa, Orlando, Tampa, those areas, those are where I kind of find those. This is like, because they're the tourist areas, and you get the people that don't really care. They're like, oh, we're on vacation, we'll spend whatever. So they just gouge people for just basic stuff. I'm like, I'm not here for that. I mean, I'm not dirt poor, but I'm not rich either. So I want a fair priced person, So, and you can see we're building every day. Things get a little better, and that's kind of one of the things you and I were talking about today. I think one of the things that I love the most about watching podcasts like this is you see the communication skills get better. You see the people that learn how to talk to people better. They learn how to posture better, and you see the little studio, the humble studio, become the multi-million-dollar studio with the archery range and the cold plunges and the gym and the side. Like, I love watching that stuff. I do. I love watching that stuff, and it's all part of that wonderful journey of just like, hey, it's okay to rebuild. It's okay if you were here and now you're here. You just got to get back up here.
Hey, man.
That's it.
We're all a kid from somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and it takes one screw up in life to find yourself falling from here right back. And then it's like, okay, well, what do? Do you sit and cry about it? Do you sit and, woe was me, I lost everything, I'm a terrible human being? Fuck that.
America's the land of second chances, man.
Yeah.
Everybody. Bill Clinton, Kobe Bryant, everybody.
Well, Kobe kind of got the short end of that
Martha
stick.
Stewart. I mean, how many people have screwed up their entire career and perception, and there they are 10 years later.
The Martha Stewart thing pisses me off so bad because Martha Stewart goes to prison for tax evasion, and yet the government finds new and illegal ways that are unconstitutional to multiply the taxes on us every day. Like, multiple taxation is not legal. It's just not. It's you have one. I'm
not saying I cheat on my taxes, but I take advantage of all the things I've seen.
I can't understand why nobody is okay with the loopholes. And I feel like,
well, if you're not okay with it, do it yourself.
Check.
I mean, if you think that's accessible to most people, just get an accountant or figure out how to do it yourself.
I can't tell you how many people
never just send this shit in
over the last 2 years that were, and I'm not liberal or conservative, and I'm sure we'll get into that one of these days on this podcast as we get further down the line.
I don't give a shit about politics. Politics doesn't give a shit about me.
Exactly.
So I inform myself, I vote. I don't even talk about it.
I'm not left or right. I'm not. I consider myself very middle of the road, but I am I'm really big on the don't overtax me, don't take my shit. I worked for it. What I worked for isn't yours, and what you worked for isn't mine. We don't owe each other anything. The world doesn't owe me anything. I have to make it for myself, and that's what makes this place so great, is that you don't have to depend on anybody. You go make it yourself or you don't. But I've had so many people over the last couple of years, because the economy's been a little shaky and it's been harder to feed yourself and put gas in the tank, and they've gone and they've started these side hustle businesses, and they'll go out and they'll make $300, $400, and then all of a sudden it's like they taxed me 50% off the top Not to mention when I go buy groceries or go buy whatever and all the services and then this and then like, I'm getting taxed so much. It's like, that's why.
We have a choice. The new American dream for existing Americans, I think if you're smart, is like a 10-year exit strategy from America. Like, why wouldn't I live somewhere where it's safe? There's hundreds of thousands of other American expats living there, and $1 is like $12.
But where? That's the question, is because most...
I'm researching a lot because I think my wife and I have a loose 10-year plan.
I'm curious.
Our retirement is not going to be in America.
That's fair.
You need $30 billion to retire in this part of Florida, or sell all your shit and go somewhere where like the house is like 40. It's a dream home. You can have a butler and a maid and a chef and all that. I mean, that exists like a lot.
Oh, they're definitely, the exchange rate is a wonderful thing, but a lot of those places.
I am not the expert, and that shit'll be a different cost when we consider that.
A lot of those places, though, have a whole different set of challenges that people don't consider when they move there.
Oh, they do.
And that's actually one of the things that I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to Joe Rogan.
But I think
listen to
America's
Jocko,
the most expensive place that gives its citizens the least.
I don't agree. I don't agree at all. See,
I mean, you got Sweden, Norway, or whatever, but
China, Russia, North Korea. None of those people make anything, and they are taxed the most out of anybody. They've got slave labor.
Oh, I'm
they
talking about places you want to go, dude.
Well, yeah, but I would go to China in a heartbeat. Look at the culture, the history there. It's amazing. But it's like that a lot. I mean, the entire Middle East is terrifying and beautiful
is
place.
South America raping you on the price of things? Like, they're not. I mean, they have a lot of new visas that
South America has a lot of problems with some dictatorship.
Safer than it used to be. I mean, the shit's changing. But whatever, man. We're talking about entrepreneurship.
No, but that's, I think it's a great conversation though.
When I have a certain amount of residual income, I will strongly consider moving somewhere where that money goes further and there's palm trees. So
Thailand has become very, very popular.
Am I an expert on this? No. But where there's a will, there's a way. Right?
No, absolutely. I do. I wouldn't blame you. I think about it all the time. I do. I can't tell you how many times I've sat and thought about, like, okay, maybe I don't want to be here. Like, maybe I got a plan and exit strategy. And then I start thinking of, like, okay, where am I going to go? And I start looking at the places. And I've researched some of these places, like
Indonesia.
Okay, they're having political issues too. They're having problems with finances. They're in the whole, like, a lot of these places are doing the same thing that we're doing, which is not a surprise because we are or have been before the major leaders of the free world. So when we suffer, a lot of the world follows suit. Look at 2008 when the market crashed in 2008. It was a world decline economically. So we need to get our shit together here, man. We have to.
I don't know if this country will. And dude, we went down a political rabbit hole. We're talking about entrepreneurship.
It's
double back to that.
It kind of coincides though, because as an entrepreneur,
if you're alive and an adult, you have to make money unless daddy don't give you millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta figure it out. But
I just more so meant like if you get into an area where entrepreneurship isn't so much allowed as much, like that's a big part of it.
Oh well, a lot
the
of these
government
people
and the
for
economy,
a visa, they want you to make a certain amount of money. I'm not going there to start working. Fucking money coming in like owning an insurance company here. You know, so
I want a Swiss bank account.
I have residual income, but it can get to a point like literally if the 401k and the retirement and the shit I have saved and the shit I have coming in and I'm married, she has that stuff as well. Well, I mean, you're coming in like 20 times what's required to get a visa there to satisfy their income requirements.
Right.
It's like, you know, oh, do you have $1,800 a month American coming in? Like, well, it'd be more than that. Like, because retire on that here, you'll be on the street. So
residual income is the future, kids. And this is something that I did. If you don't know what that is, this is a really, really good time to open Investopedia. Seriously, because I remember in 2015, I remember in 2015, my dad died, and I was a burnout. And I'm growing my hair out again. You can see it's getting fluffy, but I was a burnout and had long hair and didn't have any life goals. And I was a musician. That was it, and it had all fallen apart. I had no direction, and my dad died. And I remember when he died, my stepmom was in charge of all of his stuff. And I got like nothing. The guns, the camping stuff that him and I had built, what little relationship we had over the years, all gone to people that didn't deserve it. Which I don't say this like as a woe is me. It is what it is. It's just stuff. But I remember sitting there thinking one day, like, what am I going to give my kids when I die? You know, when I have a family, what am I going to pass on? What's my legacy? And I was like, I know nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow. And I was like, I got to learn. And I did. I started learning, like, what's the terminology? What happens here? How do you invest in things? I didn't even know you could just go out and start a business. Like, I thought that was for rich people. I did. At 25 years old, I thought, like, okay, to go start a business, you have to be like this rich guy that came from a rich family. I
would agree with you because, I mean, I'm born in the 70s. I'm way older than you. To me, in my 20s, to start a business, well, you just go based on what you see.
It was this
You're like,
big
I'm
thing.
going to need a warehouse and, like, inventory. It just seemed like millions. Take out a huge loan. And it seemed impossible until the digital era was evolving. And I'm like, got to the point you can start a business with Wi-Fi and a laptop.
You can start a marketing business. Now, not to say that I would recommend just starting a marketing business and driving somebody's company into the ground. Research it, educate yourself, but you can start a marketing business for almost nothing.
Dude,
the cost of an LLC.
You can go get free Google and Microsoft certifications.
Check.
Which the Microsoft, not even that important unless you're in the Pacific Northwest.
Google's really important, though.
Google is super important. You can do
awesome.
all that for free. And you can jump on popular sites like Squarespace, Shopify, and just pretend you get a fictitious client every week and build their website and research thousands of websites that do what they do and start integrating user experience, best practices. I mean, I learned how to edit video by watching commercials and movies and noticing the cuts and how they did it. And then watching like thousands of hours of, I mean, really all this stuff. I went to college so far back in the day in the 90s that like none of these ways I can monetize what I do existed. I had to teach myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't go back to school to do it. I just took courses and just watched a ton of content and took notes.
YouTube University, man.
And just started building websites for myself. Like you open up Squarespace, you can build a website. They'll keep it up for like, I don't know, 45 days.
And then you can build like, as many templates as you want.
Auto body client. How would I build it? Fictitious client, and build it and look at like the top auto body companies in
so
America.
You don't niche yourself.
No, I specialize particularly. I enjoy working with bars in this area because they have the most to gain, and they typically become long-term clients because at any given point, there's so many people in their hotel room on a phone from Cleveland, Ohio, or wherever they're from, not here, like where to get blank. Oh, I want live music. Oh, I want Chinese food. Like whatever it is you want, man. Whatever comes up prominently displayed, they don't know anything from anything. And it's a quick Uber or even walking distance, or they brought their car for some reason.
If you don't know it's there, you're never going.
Well, yeah, like I had a bar over like West Oak Alley right at 95. So I had a 30-mile radius around the bar, which includes 30 miles north and south on I-95, and they're 1 mile from I-95. Dude, the second we turned that on, it matured a little bit. After like a week, they're getting unique customers driving by on I-95 where dad's telling the wife, like, hey, starving and we need gas. Like, find somewhere we can get some wings and it's kid-friendly burger. Whatever.
Right next to the Wawa.
So, dude, they get off at I-95, get the gas, and then they navigate to this bar and it's right there. And they'll probably never come back. But if you can increase on average, when I take on a bar as a Google ad client, their first time covers go from in the 30 percentile to the 70 percentile of new first time customers. Well, dude, we're in a tourist area like Missouri. That's not going to work as well, but it's a unique thing you can take advantage of with all the lodging and people driving to the Keys, Miami, whatever. They're passing by on I-95 on their way back to New York, Philadelphia, Maine, name it. So
I tell you what,
this presents a unique opportunity.
Especially, and I've noticed this over the last couple of years, this year especially because I've been more reliant on income from the area being busy, and it hasn't been, is the bars around this area could use somebody good in marketing during the end of summer, right before Snowbird area, because everything around here, Key West is the only bar that I've seen that has actually had people consistently every single night. Everywhere else,
that's probably the busiest local bar around Key West.
Because nobody else goes there.
I don't. And like Chumley's, I just built their print on demand for their clothing, merchandise, everything. And that's another bar that literally needs no advertising. It's just locally famous.
I love that. Those are my favorite watering holes.
8 other bars have gone out of business within a quarter mile of them on the same strip. And I've approached a lot of these bar owners, and they're like, oh, well, I'm in construction, I'm in concrete, I'm in water bottles, whatever they're in. It's like, we bought a bar just, to like have fun with it. And I'm like, you got like one or none people in there every night. So, I mean, it's not that much fun to go out of business, dude. All the bars I approached and they declined, all went out of business. And I had a falling out with an upscale restaurant downtown. Like, we were husband, wife, good couple, friends, and all that. And the wife was a little fucking Looney Tunes. And she way overstepped her bounds in a social arena, completely unrelated to business at all. Because my efforts for them with the friend discount, they're like crushing it. So, like, their slow times were exceeding revenue in their busiest months ever. But when she steps to my face like, I
have a feeling I know where that's going, and I don't know if we want to know.
Dude, like, my wife and I are solid citizens. We just don't do sociopaths, pathological liars, personality disorder. Like, we're just like kind of normal people, like happy marriage. Like,
those exist
we like
now?
To hang out with other normal couples. Like, have a good time, but keep it not psycho, Keep your ego out of it a little bit. Respect each other. But, after that, man, I gave the husband a few days to own it. It's just crickets. Like, he just stood there while she was berating me about she's hammered. Like, just gibberish. So I gave him a chance.
Nothing.
Oh, that was on a Friday night. Saturday, Sunday, Monday goes by. So Tuesday, like, I hit him with a new rate. So I'm like, well, I guess if we're not friends, then...
You don't get the friend rate.
Oh, we had a handshake deal. I mean, with friends, like Chumley's, I've known Marcus for a couple years. Like, I built his new project, no money up front. Handshake, like, I'll get it done, week or two. And, he knows what it costs, but usually I want at least 50% up front. I'm like, well, he ain't going anywhere, man. If he doesn't pay me, like, I'll go to his bar, but he's going to pay me. He's a black dude from Chicago. I'm a black dude from St. Louis. Like, we're the only two black business owners around here that I'm aware of. So we stick together a little bit. But, and, it was a similar deal with that other upscale concept. It was just, I pitched it to him kind of after we met. I'm like, dude, this will really help you get the ball. Like, you just bought a new restaurant, an old restaurant for someone else. Like, this will set it off. Like, a year later, he's like, you know what? Let's do that. Again, when we were talking like sidebar off camera, when I meet a client, it's 1 week to 1 year when they sign up. And I'm not pushy, man. Because I also discussed with you, like, I won't buy anything, A, I don't believe in, or B, if I don't like the person selling it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you like me, but you don't believe in marketing? Which, if you're going to own a business, you don't believe in marketing. Like,
Yeah, it might not be your
fucking own a business.
Might not be your bread and butter.
It's like, yeah, the new CEO of Budweiser, Pepsi, and General Motors kills all their advertising. Well,
we're not going to talk about Budweiser
or Apple or anybody. Like,
no, I'm just kidding,
dude. If you stop advertising, if you're in first place, you'll be in fourth place real quick.
Yeah,
because
there's a reason that multi-billion-dollar
car
Coca-Cola
advertise. Everybody knows who Coca-Cola is.
Because if they don't, then Pepsi wins.
Exactly.
It's in front of you all the time, and this is the thing. And this is why every time I, for years, thought about that, like, why the hell does Lexus go and do commercials? Like, everybody knows when they want a Lexus. Everybody knows when they want a Mercedes. They see it and they're like, oh, I need one of those. Like, that's my dream car. Oh, I want one of those. It's really nice. Oh, I test drove one of those. Oh, I rented one of those. But every once in a while, you get somebody, and it's that 1%, 2%, 3% that makes all the difference.
The undecided voter.
Exactly. And they look at that commercial and they're like, I didn't know that was a thing. I need it.
I mean, I've got a 4Runner. I saw the new Lexus GX, whatever. They play those commercials. I'm like, I'm not going to buy one. Probably $100,000. Mine's paid off. But I didn't know it came out until I saw the commercial. So that's why car companies advertise.
You think that's why the Bronco bombed so bad?
Not everybody subscribes to Motor Trend and is like awaiting the new model to come out, right? They're just like a lazy slob sitting on their couch like, that's a pretty new car. I think I like that car. I'm going to go check out that car.
I feel like, actually, I'm really curious. I might have spoke out of turn. I don't know how the Bronco did. I know that everybody that I talked to that bought the Bronco hated it. And
it's
then
quality
I
issues.
stopped seeing Broncos. But they didn't advertise it all either. I never saw a Bronco anywhere on advertising. Not on TV, not on internet, nothing.
They did all their advertising online.
Did they?
Yep.
Probably just not targeted at me because that's just not what the people, the guitar companies are like, nope. I'm putting my shit in front of him.
Well, and I mean, I do target depending on, I don't just work with bars and restaurants, but like all industries.
Oh, targeted advertising is powerful.
Well, and I can target by income.
Ooh.
So upscale restaurant, I'm targeting $90,000 and above, and certain industries in which you work.
That's fair.
Because, I mean, if you're going to display a $125 tomahawk steak to an Applebee's guy looking for, like, dollar boneless wings, then
it's not going to work.
That wasted your cost per click.
No, so. Yeah. And cost per clicks
Lexus isn't like, oh, do you use EBT cards? Cool. This is a $980 a month lease. Please come in. So, in a sense, poor people won't see certain ads.
And this is your lesson
ad,
for the day. If you don't know, targeted advertising, that's where you make your money, because that's when you find, and I mean, I do the same thing all the time. I'll be looking for something specific, and I get a pop-up that's like, hey, you're on Facebook, a Facebook sponsored ad, and it's like, hey, were you looking for this? The signs. I told you I wanted a sign. I want to put a neon sign up here.
Oh, even after you buy those shoes, you're going to see the ad for another fucking 3 months.
Well, no, the reason that I said I wanted to get a sign for up here was because I was looking for stuff for merchandising, and this thing popped up, and it was like, does your business need a sign? And I was looking at these signs. I was like, that's like $1,000. I want it. I want it now.
Right.
Like, I want it now. And of course, I'm talking myself out of it because it's like, okay, let's start small and grow like we're supposed to. But
okay, so for the bar restaurant industry, this is nationwide. The average return on investment for a bar or restaurant from Google advertising is between $8 and $28 per dollar spent.
Okay.
If the stock market did that, everybody'd be in it. So, I mean, I see, most of the bar owners I know aren't really qualified to run a bar. They're just
most
guys with money
aren't
that
qualified to run a business.
I would say
at this
that.
Point.
They're like, hey, man, we like bars. Let's buy one. Dude, I was a
bars are hard,
prep cook, dishwasher, busboy, all the way up to like bar manager.
Yeah, me too.
And I've worked in beer on-premise sales. I've played almost 3,000 shows as a drummer. And I enjoy going to bars. So I know how to see through the lens of a guest. I know how a bar works from every single vantage point. So
everybody's complaints, who pisses off who.
Dude, I'm more
takes advantage of
qualified to advertise most of these individuals' bars than they are to own it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know, man. 500 a week? I don't know, man. I don't know. So for what you pay a dishwasher.
An employee.
For you pay your like shittiest cook to like 10x your investment, turn that 500 into at least $5,000. You're like, I don't know, man. Well, then you don't know shit.
It's about, and this is one, again, I am my own worst critic, and I will tell you.
And I'm not Verizon. I'm not going to life you up like 10-year fucking deal. I mean, I'll give people, 6 months.
Well, yeah, nobody really likes being locked, like feeling like they're locked in. But this is one of the areas, and I'm a transparent dude, and you'll learn this. You're probably learning this already. You guys might know.
Well, you're not that transparent. I can see, but I can't see.
I mean, I'm pretty white, but I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I will tell you every flaw. I told you guys last week, about the addiction issues. I will talk to anybody about anything because I don't want anything to hide. Like, I just talk to anybody about anything. But that is one of my biggest struggles over the years, and I've owned multiple businesses, and this one is the first one that felt like slow, steady, wins the race. Like, I'm on it. This one ain't failing. This is mine. And
you go with some 15 years, you'll get it.
My biggest struggle has been separating my entrepreneurial brain from my employee brain. The $2,000 a month that it would cost. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a lot of money. No, it's not. Spend it and make it, or get the fuck out. Like, if you're not good, and this is what it comes down to with most companies. Like, if I bomb my company right now, if I just decide, hey, I'm going to stop doing this, I hurt myself. I mean, it kind of sucks. We don't get to hang out anymore, but I hurt myself. I screw myself. I don't have employees. It is what it is, right? Not a big deal. When you have a company, when you have employees, when you have people that depend on you, the family that they have at home depends on the paycheck that you put in their account every week. I don't know. Well, you better be pretty fucking sure.
Oh, and I mean, these guys will buy their wife a $5,000 product purse, take $20,000 vacations, go to Vegas, gamble with $50,000. But like, investing in my business, I don't know about that. I don't know. Because, that purse is going to be worth, $2,000 when you get it home.
Those are the people that are broke in 10 years.
Poshmark in 2 years when she's bored of it for $1,500. So it's like, well, we know we can turn a $100,000 car into $40,000. We know we can turn a $5,000 purse into $1,200. But man, what could $2,000 a month in advertising turn my revenue into? Well, that's too risky. I prefer to invest in depreciating assets. I guarantee we'll lose money. What kind of fucking thinking is that? I don't get
well, and that is
I
what
don't
separates.
Chase customers and I don't pursue them. Like, I'll pitch them. And I'll be like, it's up to you. Because when they buck, if there's two schools of thinking. If you're thinking about the cost and that's all you're focused on versus the potential return, then you don't have the mindset of somebody I want to deal with anyways.
Yeah.
Because if you're struggling financially or you're concerned about, I mean, if I have a place doing 30, 40, 50 grand a week, 500 for me is definitely worth an investment to see what that can be on a limited term. So people are super skeptical. I'll give them like 90 days. And once they get a taste of that 90 days, it's a year after that. Because they're like, yeah, dude, we killed it. So
you know what's funny? And I'm so, again, transparent. With this business, it's been hard. That like the whole journey out here has been a challenging one. And I need to be more grateful for that because it's really turning me into something that I've never been before as far as an entrepreneur goes. But just going out and getting this is a new table. I bought it today. This chair that I'm sitting in is a new chair.
I appreciate that.
Of course, yeah. No, I kind of like this setup better. This is nice.
We're having a real conversation.
Like this. Yeah. But I was like, man, all the money that I just spent, that I that I just got on this channel, all the money I've made as a business in the last 2 months, I just spent on a chair and a table. And then I sat in the car and I was like, yeah, that's the business. That's the struggle. That's the snowball. That's that dollar that has turned into $20. That 50 that's going to be on top of that. The 100 that's going to go on top of that. That's what it's all about. Putting it back in, not making a cent, having to struggle. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I heard that all the time. If it was easy, everybody would do it and everybody'd be rich.
Well, there's no 6-minute abs. It's called a commitment to fitness.
It's hard. And it takes, here's the thing that I've noticed about a lot of the entrepreneurs that I listen to. They were willing to lose the car. They were willing to lose the house and go into an apartment. I was living at my wife's place when we met. They were willing to shower at the gym because the water at the home got shut off.
On Friday nights, bottle of Woodbridge and cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Because to go out is $200. To eat the groceries you got and an $8 big bottle of wine, well, that's a cheap night in.
Not anymore. It's $200 now.
Yeah, no shit.
No, but that's, I mean.
Yeah, we sacrificed hard.
It's hard.
You know what? We still took vacations, but they were like, road trips or cheap flight or something. But
do you know I've never actually gone on a real vacation. Like my dad took us up to the mountains when I was in high school, but since I've been like an adult, I have never gone on a real vacation. I've had staycations, but I've never, up until maybe 5 years ago, had somewhere where I was like, you know what? I need to start saving. I've never been on a cruise.
I've never been on a cruise. We're going next month.
Are you? I want to go.
I know Carnival's kind of like the Frontier Airlines of
like the weekend cruises.
But they have a new boat they bought out this year. They brought out this year, and it's to rival Royal Caribbean. So ooh. I watched a whole YouTube video on it with the wife the other night, and I'm like, man, we got excited. I want to eat Shaq's chicken and all that shit, and it's incredible. So I'm looking forward to that.
I really want to go. We were talking about
now that we live in Florida, take the cruises.
It's right there. It's 30 minutes north.
Because living in Missouri or California or whatever, I was younger. And Missouri, I'm like, all right, so if I got to fly to Miami, I'm just going to hang out in Miami instead of getting on a boat.
Yeah.
But, getting a little older, I'm like, all right, 7 days, all I got to do is whatever the hell I feel like doing every day, which is basically, I don't know, go to the gym, sweat it out, and then start drinking again and eating fucking bullshit food. But, I eat pretty regimented.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I just have this schedule and diet, and I'm looking forward to we go to New Orleans, there ain't no restrictions. I'm drinking the fancy, sugary, big cocktails with fruit and whipped cream and eating
the hangover cocktail
and just literally everything. And then I get back and it's like, all right, oatmeal, protein, rice, spinach.
Yeah.
Which food for me is purely functional until I'm on vacation. Then I want all the flavors. But like at home, I don't need, it's like the air I breathe or water. I need it. I don't need to overindulge in it. Like sleep. I need enough of all these things so I can do what I want. I don't pig out. I don't sleep 12 hours.
What is sleep? I'll tell you what. So
I got 8 hours last night, brother, and I'm feeling strong. It's good.
I
sleeping
love
like ass lately.
My dog. I love my dog. And I would not trade him for anything in the world.
Except 3 hours more sleep a night.
Some days I strongly consider it because he's a sleep barker, a snorer, and a shaker. And I'm a light sleeper.
Man.
And I sleep on this futon more often than I'd like to admit. And
just to shut him out.
she keeps like, man, I don't feel like you ever sleep.
You put in earplugs?
Like, I've tried. I see. For me, it's more the vibration. Once I get to sleep, I can sleep through sounds that I'm familiar with. It's unfamiliar sounds, which is I don't know how my brain works, because if you were to like ninja walk into my room, and this happens all the time, like I'll be passed out. and somebody will like ninja walk into the room to try and not wake me up.
I'm awake.
And they'll take 3 steps, and I'm like, motherfucker,
Right.
like I'm ready to fight. And I don't know why, like it's so weird. But then if I pass out and there's a sound, like I listen to TV all the time in my sleep because it's a comfort sound and it drowns out other sounds and it'll help me sleep better. The light doesn't. If I can turn the light off of the TV and just listen, it helps me sleep better. So I usually like I'll take this thing and I'll like close it. And to the point where it's still playing sounds, but I can't see the light.
I'll send you a link to some of these delta wave sleep binary sound shit. Like,
I need to do that. Yeah.
It's cool. Like I put that, it's just like you're sleeping on the Star Trek Enterprise. It's just like,
I'll tell
I
you
used
what,
to listen
tour
to
bus.
nuclear submarine sound. And it's just kind of ambient noise. I moved
tour
my little
bus.
Google Home thing because it's so stupid and not smart like my Google phone. So I'm like, hey, when does this happen? And it's like, I don't know what you're saying. I was like, my phone does. So apparently y'all ain't the same level of Google. You're short bus Google, and my phone's like, running MIT.
Some of the best sleep that I've ever gotten in my life was on a tour bus in a bunk. And it's because you got that light, because it's so big and it doesn't shake like a car does. It's got that like wave motion to it, almost like a waterbed. And then you've got the engine rumble, but it's distant because there's so much bus there. So it's that light rumble and that light shake, and it's just okay. And it like rocks you to sleep, but it drowns out most of the other noises. And then Zach Wilde comes in and punches you in the arm and says, "Get up, bro. You gotta check this shit out. Come on, motherfucker. You gotta get it." And then
Well, at least he didn't do like, hey, we stopped at Dunkin's. We got you your favorite. And you're like, what's that? He's like, nut taps. And you're like, oh.
My arm was bruised for like a solid month because that's how he woke people up. He'd go into your bunk and just boom. And Zach's a big guy.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And he would come in and he'd be like, "Bro, you gotta check this out, bro. You gotta fucking check it." It's like, oh, I just want to sleep.
Speaking of bro, I gotta go meet my client to shore up the deliverables.
All right.
That sound like a drug dealer.
Yeah, you do.
I'm a retired drug dealer. Okay. I'm actually meeting Marcus from Chumley's. And we're getting his print-on-demand apparel going, which I'm really excited about that. Wife and I already placing some like wholesale orders. And so we're working on the pricing because he knows the price sensitivity of his clientele better than I do. Because I see guys in there that own boats, and I see guys over there that came over on boats. So, it's too different. Can I say that?
We're going to let him get to that, but that kind of brings up one more thing, and we'll close with this. We just started a print-on-demand site, and if you would like to go get the HzSoGood Podcast merch, we got 2 shirts right now. I will make some more stuff, some more fancy stuff, but this is just the base, the foundation. We have black and white. I'm going to throw them right up here. And go get yourself a shirt and support the podcast. We're going to have some before too long. We're going to order them really soon, and then you're going to see them, and you're going to think they're pretty, and you're going to order them, right? So go be awesome. I hope this was helpful, and it's always nice to hang out and have a beer with a buddy.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me on again, and we're going to make this a regular thing. And I did ride my Harley here. I'm not just like a psycho looking for somebody to box in the parking lot, so they tend to just stay on until I use the restroom.
Dude, I used to walk around in those in high school all the time. So.
Yeah, it's different now. But, hey, appreciate you guys. Stay tough, stay clean, stay motivated.
Stay weird.